Welcome to the Call to Cinema, and if it's Tuesday, it must be reviewed and ranked. So we are going to look today at the Forgotten Gialli Volume 3 box set from Vinegar Syndrome. One thing I gotta say is that I am a lover of this genre, and these box sets have been a special delight every time that I've actually got to watch these. So tonight, what I decided to do is I'm not just going to do a quick review and basically rank the three of these. Yes, that is going to be done, but I also have the other two box sets right here. So I will rank all 9 of these films afterwards in order, and I'll even tell you which box set of the 3 that are out so far that I like best. So let's start with Forgotten Gialli, Volume 3. Let's look at the build of the set. It's a nice stiff box. As you can see, there's Autopsy, Murder Mansion, and Crazy Desires of a Murder. I still think that looks a lot like, although it isn't, it looks a lot like Stephanie Beacham. She is not in this box set, by the way. The set is extremely well put together. As you can see, there's something, no matter where you're looking on the set, there's always something to look at. And I do adore that. So let's take it out, look at the films. I'll talk about them. I'll try to talk to them in a spoiler-free way, because these are Giallos. You want to experience these and try and guess yourself. So I switched the Autopsy cover around because I like the alternate artwork better. So first up, there's Autopsy. Then there's Murder Mansion. And then there's Crazy Desires of a Murder. So I had seen Autopsy before a lot, and I think I'd seen Murder Mansion a long time ago, though I didn't remember very well. So it was like going in fresh. So we'll say I didn't see it. We'll say I didn't see it, based on the fact that I didn't remember anything. And Crazy Desires of a Murder, hadn't seen it all. So first off, we got Armando Crispino's Autopsy. I really like this film, and I'm probably going to butcher the name here. I was a little bummed that my copy came kind of crushed a bit on the inside, but the other two were okay. But this one here was kind of broken. I didn't contact Vinegar Syndrome or anything like that. I figured it happens, but it was really broken there. Anyway, so the Autopsy is a unique film. It starts out with a bunch of people committing suicide, and they kind of go on with Oleg Shumlov's theory on geomagnetism. So basically, it's kind of starts on the idea of sunspots in at a certain time of the year can cause certain types of people, if they have the proclivity to it, to commit suicide. And that's kind of the start of it. And there's these kind of sunspot looking things. It kind of really looks like lava, really, but I suppose be sunspots throughout the film. But that's just kind of some thrown in scientific stuff that really, honestly, has very little to do with the plot of the film. Basically, the whole idea of this one. This is Mimsy Farmer, right? Yeah, Mimsy Farmer and Ray Lovelock. This is actually pretty cool. And so there's this girl that's she's at this what would you call it, the place we do the autopsy at, anyway, I guess a mortuary. Anyway, she's there, and she's studying the facts of of suicide, and not just suicide, but murder made to look like suicide. So that is kind of what this is, really. So she's having these these kind of daydreams, kind of almost like nightmares, basically, of the dead bodies getting up and coming towards her, performing acts on each other. That's just at the beginning of the film. But someone close to her is close to her in a way, gets killed. She meets this girl, and an American girl. And the girl later on dies, and it seems to be a suicide. But the way that it's done, you know that it's not a suicide. So she is at first trying to dissuade, because the girl that's been murdered, her brother, who's now a priest, used to be a this is going to it's hard to explain, who used to be a race car driver, but was in an accident where a lot of people got hurt. Um, is has come to town, and he's basically said, my sister never killed herself. I want to find out who the murderer is. And for certain reasons, she doesn't want him to go after the killer. It could be the fact that someone close to her she thinks did it. It could be the fact that she herself did it. It could be something completely different, as Monty Python would say. Either way, this is a really fun ride. It snips along pretty quickly. It's 100 minutes long, and it doesn't seem it. Really, it really goes by quick. It is got a great cast. Mimsy Farmer, as always, is fantastic in this type of film. You've probably seen her in Four Flies and Grey Velvet, the Adair Argento classic. There's some great features on her as well. They have the English and Italian language dubbed soundtracks. We have an interview with editor Danielle Alabiso, I'm going to guess. Interview with Francesco Crispino, who is a film historian and the son of the director. There is also an introduction by director Armando Crispino. I think it was done at a festival or something where screening was done, because there's this guy comes up at the beginning and he talks a little bit about the whole sunspot thing, and then he gives it over to the director. The guy seemed a little bit he should have gave it over to the director a lot quicker, actually. And then there's a featurette on the career of the director Armando Crispino as well, called Black Hole Sun. But again, really enjoyed this film. Even after you know who the killer is, it's something you can go back and watch again, and that's always a plus. Murder Mansion. This has the amazing Evelyn Stewart. Now, for those that don't know, Evelyn Stewart, good, IMDb her. She has done a lot of giallos and Italian films, and she is incredible in these films. What's really, really good though is there's an interview with Ada Gialli, aka Evelyn Stewart, which is her Americanized name, on this disc. She's an older lady now, and she's very, very sweet and very nice, and very open to talking about the film and to pretty much her career in general. But this is incredible. This is so well done. Now this is the more of the Spanish Italian ones, in that you're is this the one? I'm trying to remember the right one. Yeah, this is the one. So there's not going to be any real nudity. It's not going to be a high sleaze factor, but it's content. It's story and content, and it's really well done. You have a bunch of people that end up in this journey. You get lost in the fog and end up in this murder mansion, where strange and unusual things are happening, where they're seeing figures that may or not be supernatural, where strange, unusual things are happening, where people are disappearing, where people are getting killed, where one person dies seemingly of a heart attack, and right to the last bitter second of this film, it just keeps going, and it is so fun, and the reveals are so well done. So is the mansion haunted? Is there more to it? Who's really betraying who? Is there more than one person at play here? You got to go in and find out. And Murder Mansion is really, really a fun film. I really enjoyed this movie. And after I watched it, I watched the interview with Evelyn Stewart, and I went back afterwards and I watched a little bit of the movie again, just to get a good just to look at some things that I may have missed out on the first time around. Next up is one that I know I had not seen before in any stretch of the imagination, and that is Crazy Desires of a Murder. So what do we think of this film? It's pretty crazy. But no, this is actually a really good film. I wasn't sure when I first started watching this, because it was a little out there. It's very Spanish. Or that was Italian? Maybe it's Italian. But it's just, yeah, it is Italian. So it's very unique. It's there's a murder. There's not a bunch of murders in this one. There's a couple murders, but they're well done, and it's set in this big kind of in this big mansion, another mansion type place, and basically there's a bunch of really not very nice people that have come to this girl's house, where her father, who has dementia, is living with a maid and a gardener and possibly a secret other person. And throughout the night, then somebody gets killed. Now, the thing you should know about this one is everybody, like, it's a hard one to guess because everybody has their own kind of little subplot going on. There's one character especially that comes across as this really, like, kind of sleazy. There's two characters actually, really, that come back as really, really sleazy characters. And there's like this whole aspect of like of a guy like drugging a girl, and then there's this other guy that's been, and there's like smuggling drugs across, and there's a guy that then he owes money. I don't want to give too much. It's like they're fleshed out in a way, like, not as in like, okay, they're three-dimensional people, but they're fleshed out in a way in that, I kind of hate some of these people. There's a cool interview on here with one of the guys that act in the film, Giuseppe Colombo, who actually became a producer after this apparently, and has produced quite a few films. He actually talks about it on here, and he mentioned that one of the actors on this film actually came to him to produce one of his films, but at the time there was a scheduling conflict, so he couldn't do it. But he had a lot of good things to say about the cast, but he was very honest. So there's a couple of people that, like, he was pretty blunt. He was blunt in his own. He wasn't just saying bad things about other people. Like, he was being bluntly honest, and in that he was also saying, when I watch this film now, it's bittersweet because I know I meant to be a producer because I didn't really stand out in the movie as an actor. So yeah, I enjoyed all three of these films. In previous sets, I could probably point to a spot where, okay, this one's a bit weaker than the other films. In this set here, Volume 3, this is going to be the hardest one for me to actually review and say and rank. Not to review, but to rank. I enjoyed all three of these movies, which makes it even harder to put any type of ranking to them. But I want to rank this box set first, and then what I'll do is I'll get the other films. We'll rank all 9 of the films. But in number 3 position, let's not do that. You're going to be surprised, actually, as was I. The one with the do I dare? This is so hard. I mean, this is really freaking hard. Is Crazy Czars of Murder. This is a really, really good film. It's in third place only because something has to be in third place. But I love this movie. I will watch it again. The only thing that puts it in third place is it does have kind of a corny ending. It ties things up a little bit too tightly. In second place is Autopsy, with an Ennio Morricone score, by the way. But yes, this and Mimsy Farm. You think this would be like set to be like the number 1 position, and it is a really great Giallo, but it is a number 2. And in like the number 1 position, you kind of know what it is now. My favorite in this box set, and honestly, one of my favorite Giallos I watched in a while, and that is Murder Mansion. This is just a fantastic film. I love that the artwork is so fantastic too, because you really, sometimes you get like really cool artwork and the movie will be like kind of crappy, but not in this case. Murder Mansion is an amazing film. It deserves to have the number 1 position. But we'll get the number 1 position overall. Well, there's only one way to find out. Let's get the other 2 sets opened up, and then my friends, I will. You can give ranking in the comment section down below. I will rank all 9 of them. And what? Live. Well, not live, but live to me. And because I'm ranking all 9 of them, I'm going to put them up against one another, which means that they're not just being ranked as a set. And I'm doing it live. I haven't like pre-planned it. I haven't pre-taped this. I haven't wrote things out ahead of time for this. I wanted to do this live on here, which you can tell because everything's falling all over the place. So, all right. In 9th place, we are going to put. Do I want to? Yeah, let's do it. The French Sex Murders. Love the film. Love all the films in there, but ninth place. In eighth place, I want to make sure I get the right one. Take my glasses for this. We're going to put The Girl in Room 2A. Great film, but definitely gets eighth place. In seventh place, My Dear Killer. In sixth place, Police Are Blundering in the Dark. In fifth place, Crazy Desires of Murder. In fourth place, The Killer is One of 13. In third place, Autopsy. In second place, Trauma. And in first place, Murder Mansion. So, there you go. Just as promised, reviewed and ranked all 3 volumes of the Forgotten Gialli box set. And ranked all 3 volumes of the Forgotten Gialli box set. And as promised, reviewed volume 3 and ranked on its own right here tonight in the Colo Cinema. For those that are unaware, I have a merch store on here now, so there is merchandise. I want to thank the people that have reached out and like grabbed a t-shirt, or we got 3 t-shirts there, we got a mug, we got a face mask, and we got much more stuff coming up in the near future. But be sure to check it out. I'll put a link to it down below. Also put a donation link if you want to help the channel. That really does help the channel. And either way, have a great evening. Watch some fantastic Giallo. Like, share, subscribe, do all that cool YouTubey stuff. And I will see you soon right here in the Colo Cinema.